Hi. Thanks, Jess. Here we go. We're going to go into part two of this, our four bodies, essentially, that we're talking about. So the mental body and the physical body, as well as the other two, we have to grow in unison. And the way I know this is the example, how I was taught was when I had been in ministry for 13 years, and I mean, we were like crazy from teens through my 20s. Great energy, but I never really felt good. I was always dragging, energy-wise. But when we came out of seminary and we moved here to Nashville, I was in bed on my back for like a year, and I just had no energy, but I looked the same. I mean, I looked fine, and that's why people thought I was making it up. And I prayed. Excuse me. I had a very good relationship with God. I still do. And that doesn't mean everything's always hunky-dory either. So I said to him, why do I feel like this after all those years of serving you? I spoke in tongues at age 17. I mean, what do you want? And I was like, and I said, why would I feel so bad after all that word and everything and learning how to do things and praying? And he said, because your spiritual body grew so much in 13 years that your physical body could not contain it. And it was so toxic. It just could not hold the spiritual growth in the physical body. And I went, And he said, clean your bowel. Now, in our ministry, we did talk about cleaning bowels. Nobody ever did it really efficiently or anything because nobody had time because they were too busy speaking the word and that sort of thing. We were in the Jesus movement. But, I did. I listened, remember, and obeyed. So that's where it was the first time. That was the original teaching I had about our bodies needing to grow in unison. They're just together, in balance. And so it was interesting because down the road, once I was in my field and working with all kinds of healthcare people, medical, uh, metaphysical, New Age, and Christian. you know, we all that was something we all knew had to be done. So I learned it again, but God was the one that initially taught me about that, and so I knew. I brought up my physical body health so it could sustain the spiritual growth. Well, the next two bodies were, guess what? And it wasn't a lot of fun all the time. It was, the mental body growth and the emotional growth. And thank God I had the spiritual and the mental body coming behind me to support that. So things come up in your life, once when we have these thoughts about, well, when we get healed, we're perfect. It's the same thing, we just think, when we know the word and we get healed, we're fine, But the thing is it just gives you more support to go do more of your work. Because that's what we're here to do, and we keep wakening up. So then I had a lot of having to go through physical situations and life scenarios to bring back, because I had in the core of my body come into such healing that it would go beyond that out into my life, and then my decisions would change, my behavior would change, and you will change. But I know everybody says it's like an onion skin and you go from the out to the in. Well, that is true, because if I wouldn't have gotten the superficial stuff healed, that I would have never been able to go and do my core work, like your mom and dad work and your family stuff. And and or you would die. You wouldn't be able to go through it. That's why people do get sick and die, in my opinion. They've had enough and they don't want to really go there. Okay. And that's okay. But if you're going to go there, that's work. So you do get the things that are going to support you to do it, to do your core work. And then by the time I was in my 40s and 50s, I had a whole lot of things going on. I did my core work with my mother, and we both lived through it. So that was something. And of course, that takes like a decade. And of course, that's why I was marrying the wrong man. So it's good to find that out. But that's where all your healing works together. But it's not like getting a burger out of a drive-through, okay? And that's the biggest trick, and that will never happen. And it's over time, and it's, but if, in all honesty, having worked with thousands and thousands of people and practitioners, if you do not go in and clear out the corruption that has been collected from all of the traumas that are sitting in your body, your heart, all your organs, if you don't clear that out, you may have a nice life, but you could have a whole lot more when those things are removed and your cells and your body gets so healed. And then you also understand the connection to your mental body. And you become, I tell you right now, you'll become more like Christ because you don't have that interference from the flesh. And talk about being in the flesh. You're definitely in the flesh if you're not cleaning your body. People have said to me, they thought, of course, because I was a hairdresser and all that, they unfortunately thought that I was being in the flesh because I was such a body worker, going into colon hygiene. And that's really is not what it was. You're more in the flesh when you're not clean inside and stewarding your body and going to the holiest of the holies and keeping it according to God's definition of holy. It's opening you, that's closing the door when you do take care of yourself like that to being in the flesh. And in the flesh is being in the flesh, like the drinking, doing your hair and everything in the flesh. It's not that you can't look nice and do those things when you're cleaning your bowel, because you will, but it'll just come from the inside out. It's very different. Very, very different. Did you ever see people that get plastic surgery? Well, they look pretty good, but if you look in those eyes, I can see they're cloudy and everything because that's the gallbladder you're looking, and that's the windows of the eyes, but they're not like glowing or anything like that. So that's man's attempt of stewardship of the temple, but they're doing everything externally and not internally. We go in and do it internally, just like God says in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then your body won't fall apart and you won't need those surgeries either. And I'm not against surgery or anything, because if that's where your believing's at, then you go right ahead. But when you're missing an organ, you have cut off the availability of getting that healing of the connection of whatever that corruption was in that organ from mental body disturbance. You're not going to be able to get that healing and come through and have a better organ. And you can do that when you cleanse, because we clean organs and you just clean your body, the cells and everything, and you can come into a higher vibration and keep your whole self. Okay, and that's an option that nobody really talks about. And so when you go through your shifting as you're growing, I call them evolutions. When people think people are getting sick and going down, that could be true, but we just turn it around and bring them up and out, because God says to clean all manner of disease out through your bowel. So when you do that, you're giving your body the choice to come up and out and heal. So therefore, the organs get healed in the cells, and you can come into new life. It's called dying unto new life, and you can do that every day, twice a day, and you do it in your other bodies too. But if you do it in your physical body, you get to have your same body as you grow older, and your body stays really nice and you don't get old like most Americans do. Uh, so that's a lot of information, but that's how it works. And I've seen it. It's not, and I don't see it on just a few people. Anybody who does do the work in a timely fashion, this protocol, and probably, I'm sure there's other people who do their protocols that are very similar and work, but that's how it works with all the bodies. And this physical body is the vehicle, so don't poo-poo it. This vehicle can have a flat tire or four flat tires, and it can fall apart and break the transmission, or you can just, instead of drinking that coffee, you can drink a shake. You can get up on the table and have your colonic in the day that only takes 30 minutes, or you could sit on the phone and gossip about somebody. So everything's about choices. And what are your choices going to be? It's just called replacing your time and energy and your resources, and take them from, there's plenty of wasted resources. Just go over there and say no to them and replace it with the good things. Okay? It sounds easy, but it really is easier too. A lot less stress, a lot, and you will start feeling good, and you will be very thankful. Well, Jesse, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Thanks for helping out, and her energy's great. She has a whole lot of stories herself. Maybe we'll get to them sometime. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Lee.